Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of MetsMusings.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mets Musing. This is the hot stove. The stove is lit. The rumors are flying. We're here to give them all the updates that we possibly can up to the minute. So let's take a look. First off, the big question is, what are the Mets going to do with Marte? What are the Mets going to do with McNeil? Will they trade them? Will they keep them? Now, if you're like me, you can make an argument for both guys to keep them, and you can make an argument for both guys to be traded. I like McNeil's versatility, and that's one thing that could keep him here. We'll see later on why. Marte is kind of limited at this point in time. Should he be in the outfield every day? I don't think so. If you're going to keep him, then perhaps he's got to move into a more permanent DH role. Then that brings up other questions. Will you sign J.D. Martinez back? Do you sign Jesse Winker back? And what about Jose Iglesias? All questions the Mets need to answer. Now, in my opinion, I try to move Marte. I hold on to McNeil. I do not sign J.D. Martinez. I do sign Jesse Winker, and I do sign Iglesias. But, as we'll see a little bit later, the Mets have made other moves that may give us a hint that they're not going to do certain things. We'll see. All right, let's look at some other news. Pete Alonso, Sean Manaea, and Luis Severino have rejected the Mets one-year qualifying offer. This was the expected outcome for all three players, though I thought Severino might accept it and try to build up some more of his trust going forward. But he decided to go for the multi-year deal as the other guys are doing the same thing. So Manaea, it's not a surprise. And Alonso, of course, it's not a surprise. He's going for the bigger bucks. We'll see. Like all free agents right now, they are all on hold, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But some other news happening quickly. Carlos Mendoza finished in third place for the 2024 National League Manager of the Year award, with the results being announced yesterday on MLB Network. Mendoza led the Mets to an NL wildcard berth in his first season as a manager, placed third behind winning Brewers skipper Pat Murphy and runner-up Mike Shildt of the Padres in the voting by the Baseball Writers Association and of America. Another outrage. I mean, come on. Shildt took over a team that was in the playoffs the last couple of years. He's got a playoff contending team. Took him over, I think, last year, got him into the playoffs. They were in the playoffs before that. They got into the playoffs this year. Right? Pat Murphy took over a team. It's won a division for the last 5 years, I believe it is. Mendoza took a team that nobody gave it that's finished below 500 last year. Finished well above 500 this year. And almost made it to the World Series. Came 2 games short of the World Series. And they were beaten by the team that eventually went on to win the World Championship. Now I know they say they don't pick their votes are in before the playoffs, but still, I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. They still had teams that that were playoff teams, and nobody gave the Mets a chance. Some people say, well, maybe they'll get the last wild card, maybe not, but it wasn't supposed to be that contending a team. And plus, like I said, he beat these teams and moved on and almost made it to the World Series. So it's disgraceful that I think I could accept it more if he finished second, but to finish third out of these three guys, ridiculous, just plain ridiculous. And I know Showalter go won a couple years ago, but I think there's a bias against uh, the Mets when it comes to a lot of these awards, and it goes back years. I mean, Strawberry or Hernandez or Carter could have won in '86, and they didn't. Mike Schmidt won the MVP that year. Um, there's just lots of history with all of the awards, except for the Cy Young. The Mets have done fairly well in Cy Young awards, but I think that's the thinking sometimes of the baseball writers that the Mets are a pitching team, and they don't vote for them for anything else. But manager of the year, this should have been a slam dunk. I'm sorry, should have been a slam dunk for Mendoza, and those are my thoughts. Now the Mets visited with Soto and his agent Scott Boras in California last Saturday, according to a report from John Heyman. The meeting, led by Cohen as well as a contingent of high-ranking Mets officials, is reported to have been very detailed and went extremely well as the Mets begin to make their case to sign the outfielder. With Cohen's backing and a flexible payroll, New York not only has resources to make the top offer to Soto, but the ambition as well, which is why they are viewed as one of the favorites to land the superstar, who will almost certainly command a deal that will make him the highest paid position player in baseball history. If projections, are any indication, Soto's contract could be anywhere from 12 to 13 years, or somewhere along the lines of 600 million and perhaps more. Mind-boggling, the numbers that they're throwing around. Yeah, for that reason, the Mets presentation was reportedly a big production and is sure to have taken a lot of work, further proves the commitment to try to sign Juan Soto. We know Soto can play in New York. We know he likes New York. He did play the NL East. He may want to come back to the NL East. But now there's other wrinkles in there. The Red Sox had a good meeting with him. The Blue Jays are going to meet with him. The Yankees are yet to meet with him. And the Phillies is sneaking in there. Now, the Phillies can argue they're in the NL East and they're built to win now, and they won the division. They're closer to the Braves than the Mets are. That could be the Phillies' argument. I don't know. How do the Mets counter that? Well, they can counter it by saying we beat the Phillies in the playoffs. We're going for it this year. And with Juan Soto, you would be the difference that they need to jump above Atlanta and Philly and win a division and get to the World Series. That's an argument they can use. Whether it happens, they are still considered a favorite. I just don't like the fact when Philly gets in there, they have a way of stealing some of these agents lately, these free agents lately, and I don't know. We'll see. They've got some big contracts though. They've got Trey Turner and Bryce Harper that they're still paying, and they have huge contracts as well. So um, they must have the money too, but they don't have. I don't believe they have Steve Cohen type money. So, but they could drive the price up, and the more the price goes up, of course, it's harder to sign other free agents unless Steve says I don't care, and they do it wisely. I mean, they sign a guy like Soto, and then sign a guy like Alonso, and the contract, it goes high. At least you've got valuable players there, and sign a Mania. You've got a good balance, and you've got players there that can win based on last year. You've got the surrounding cast. Um, Pitching's always going to be the key, so you want to spend some on that, or make a trade. Then they may have to turn around and trade some of their prospects to get somebody back here, a quality starter. But it's I think Cohen wants Soto, and I don't think that if it comes down to basically money, he's going to outbid everybody. Then it'll be up to Soto. Would he rather play? Maybe he'd rather play in Philadelphia um, than play in New York. I don't think I would. I think the people there are more, the fans there are a lot more tougher. And if you screw up, man, they're going to be all over him. So I wouldn't do it. But let's see what happens. So Juan Soto's making the rounds, and hopefully he signs early enough. Shohei Ohtani last year signed, I think, the first week of December. So maybe we'll see a decision by Soto in but 2 weeks or so, which would be great if the Mets could go into the rest of the offseason having Soto on their roster. For the third consecutive year, Francisco Lindor is an all MLB shortstop. The MVP has not been announced yet, so we'll have to see how that works out for him. Lindor made Major League Baseball's all MLB second team presented by MGM Rewards last Thursday, finishing behind Kansas City's Bobby Witt Jr. in balloting. And like last year, Lindor was the only Mets player to earn inclusion on the MLB team. And so congratulations to Francisco Lindor. More hardware. Also got a silver slugger. So cleaning up, be nice to grab the MVP, but I think we all know it's going to go to Ohtani. He had a historical year, but still, as I said last week, the MVP should be for the most valuable player. Would their team be where they finished without that player? And with the Mets, I think the answer is no. The Dodgers, the answer would be yes. But we know Ohtani's going to get it anyway. He's the poster child, the favorite of everybody now, so he will win the MVP. The Mets elected not to make any additions to the 40-man roster ahead of Tuesday evening's Rule 5 protection deadline, meaning that right-handers Mike Vassell and Dom Hamill, among others, will remain eligible. I can't talk. To be selected during next month's draft. Both starters were viewed as two of the top candidates to make the cut this offseason, as they could have served as valuable pitching depth, just one step away from cracking the big league level. However, New York opted to leave them exposed. Very surprised at this move. Don't understand it at all, but perhaps the Mets observed something this year that they didn't like. something occurred. They both struggled at AAA, but that's you know that's nothing new. Uh, a lot of times pitchers struggle when they get to AAA. It's a better league. They're seeing major leaguers on their way down. They're seeing top stars on their way up to the majors. So, and the International League is traditionally a hitting league. So, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if there's any, they just didn't feel that they were going to be top of the line starters. Maybe they thought they would be bullpen guys at this point. I mean, a couple of years ago, they were talking about them as, being on this pitching staff. And as like the article says, they could provide valuable pitching depth. There's something that they didn't like this year that they said to themselves, we're not going to protect these guys. I would imagine they'll get picked up rather quickly, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'm a little surprised because they were highly touted as I think last year even. But one bad year in AAA, and they seem to have dropped off the hot prospect list, at least in the Mets' eyes. So we'll see. Maybe they're just taking a gamble that they want to keep somebody else. Maybe this is because they're expecting to sign a few free agents and they're going to need the space. I don't know. It's sort of a surprising move to me, but we'll see what happens after the Rule 5 draft. Somebody may take them, somebody may not take them. They might still be here. Who knows? We'll see how that works out. All right, let's take a quick break. And we'll have more hot stove talk. And a trade was made by the New York Mets. So stay tuned for that right after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
And we're back. And the Mets on Tuesday made a trade. They agreed to acquire Jose Siri from the Tampa Bay Rays for reliever Eric Orz. Siri, who has been with the Rays since 2022, is an elite center fielder, defender who was tied for second baseball position last season with 16 outs above average. He also gives the Mets insurance in the event that Tyrone Taylor, who underwent multiple surgeries earlier this offseason, needs more time than expected to recover. Offensively, Siri has hit 43 home runs the past two seasons, but he mustered just a .620 OPS in 2024. Siri, who has 3 years of team control left, is arbitration eligible for the first time offseason. So the Mets make a trade. A small trade could be an important trade. Obviously, Jose Siri will take over the Harrison Bader role. It looks like Tyrone Taylor is going to be the starting center fielder if and when he comes back. I should say when he comes back, not if he comes back. And Nimmo can spell him, and Jose Siri will be the Harrison Bader backup role. He'll get some starts. He'll get some late inning defensive replacement. Not that Taylor needs that. He's a good center fielder as well. But the Mets obviously going for defense here, bringing in another center fielder, quality center fielder, and one, by the way, as we said, is still under team control. That's a big thing. Beta, don't forget they signed him to a 1-year contract. This way they have Siri here for a couple of years, and they know they'll be set waiting for maybe a Drew Gilbert to take over in a year or two. So very interesting move, and I'm sure he can play the other out, the corner outfield spots. We know Taylor can play the corner outfield spot. So they could always have Taylor in right and Jose Siri in center, Nemo in left. They could be one combination. Of course, Marte is still here. He could be playing some right field. McNeil could as well. So as long as Marte McNeil is still here. It seems as what they're trying to do is build this team around defense and fill in. And what I like about it is that David Stearns is going about his business the same way he did last year. And even though they're going after Soto and those guys, he's not standing pat. He's filling in slots that he thinks he needs. They've made some other signings. They announced that they signed outfielder Rafael Ortega along with infielder Donovan Walton to minor league contracts with an invitation to spring training. Ortega is a left-handed hitting outfielder. He played 47 games with the Mets in 2023. He had one home run, hit 219 with one home run and 8 RBI. He's 33 years old. He can play all three outfield slots. So he's a nice depth piece to have. Walton has appeared in just 70 big league games. He spent the majority of the season in AAA with the San Francisco Giants last year, where he enjoyed a ton of success, recording 28 extra base hits and a 821 OPS across 99 games. Most of his experience has been at the middle infield positions, but Walton has also seen time at third base and left field. So another versatile guy and a guy that may take the Jose Iglesias role. Though I'd really like to see him. His spirit is so good that I don't understand. They should have offered him a contract right away. But they're getting depth. They're getting backups. As I say, these guys were signed to minor league contract, but they're versatile. Probably be at Syracuse, but they're as they say, a heartbeat away. If an injury happens and they need somebody, they are right there. So maybe the Mets plan on signing Iglesias, but because he's 34, they're a little concerned. And then they have the backup in Syracuse, as well as they have the young guys, too. Let's not forget Acuna, Mauricio, Beatty. We don't know what they're going to do with any of these guys. Jet Williams, so we have some news on him later. So it's an interesting situation, but I think David Stearns is going to load this team with versatile players and, let them fight it out and see what we got, what comes out. It worked last year. You always can make adjustments. We know that. And he made a lot of adjustments during the season. So, we'll have to see how it all works out. The Mets also announced that they signed right-handed Justin Hageman to Hagenman to a major league contract. He just elected minor league free agency earlier this month. The club's 40-man roster count jumps to 34. Hagenman is 28 years old. He cracks a major league roster for the first time. He was drafted by the Dodgers back in 2018, but went to the Red Sox as part of the 2023 deadline trade that sent Enrique Hernandez to Los Angeles. The Sox never added Hagenman to their roster, so he qualified for minor league free agency after 2024 as a player with 7 seasons of minor league experience. However, the Mets apparently saw enough to give him a 40-man spot. Over the past 4 years, Hagenman has thrown 302 2/3 of an inning on the farm with a 4.919 earned run average, 25.7% strikeout rate, and a 7.5% walk rate. He has primarily been a reliever in his career, but served more of a swingman role in 2024. So there we go. Another swingman, another versatile pitcher, guy that can pitch out of the bullpen and can start. So I think that's what the Mets are looking for right now. They're looking for versatility. They're looking to rebuild the bullpen as well. He's going to make a lot of these kind of signings, bring guys in that perhaps he scouted years ago and likes that are available. Maybe he sees something David Stearns we're talking about that they can get out of these guys. Maybe he, figures Hefner and the pitching lab he gets out of these guys. We'll see. It worked last year. Doesn't mean it's going to work this year, but it does. But it a successful season last year can relate that they're on the right track. So we'll have to see. But another signing by the Mets. And before we go, we have one more story. Mets number 2 prospect Jet Williams sprained his right ankle in the Arizona Fall League regular season finale on Thursday, but he appears to have avoided a major injury. Although there's been no word on the severity of Williams' ankle sprain, Mets officials are optimistic it won't have a significant impact on his offseason, and that is according to a report from MLB.com's Anthony DiComo. Williams has been playing for the Scottsdale Scorpions in the AFL, suffered his injury on Tyler Callahan's leadoff double in the bottom of the first inning last Thursday, bumping into the outfield wall while attempting to corral Callahan's fly ball to left center field and falling to the ground after getting the ball into the cutoff. So, he's had a tough year, Jet Williams. He had the wrist problem earlier in the year, which led to surgery on his wrist, which took him out most of the year. And now to have this occurred when he was getting some regular playing time again, now to get injured, but he has time to rest up, heal up, and get ready for spring training. So come on, Jet, get well quick, and we'll see how he is in February when camp begins. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. A lot of information. You don't think there's a lot of information, but it's a lot of little information that adds up and paints a picture to what possibly the Mets could be looking to do this offseason. So stick with us. If you're watching on YouTube and you have not already done it, please hit the like button for this particular show and hit the subscribe button. And the same thing if you're listening to the show on the audio podcast. We're on all the major podcast supply stations or apps. So if you can hit the follow or subscribe or whatever it is on your particular app, and that way you'll always know when a new edition of Men's Musing has been released. And that's going to be important because sometimes I'm not the best with the weekly schedule, and if there's no news, I may skip a week. But we'll see as the season goes along. That's why it's important to be subscribed. So and let's please help me get those subscriber numbers up. They're rather low, and I know we have more viewers than that. So please help boost that subscriber number if you can. Tell your friends and family about Mets Musings. Ask them to subscribe. It's just a simple thing. They'll just get a little notification. They're not going to get bothered with anything. Just a notification when a show comes out. And I would appreciate it very much. So keep your eye on the ball, and remember, until we meet again, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. And I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Music.